Hello and welcome to Third Eye Television. My name is Joy Malik. We begin with the headlines. National Drug Law Enforcement Agency arrests the wanted international drug baron. National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control NAFDAC blacklists an Indian pharmaceutical company producing and exporting illegal opioids to West Africa, including Nigeria. Well, newly appointed Director General of the National Youth Service Corps, Brigadier Kunle Nafiu, asked to make the security and welfare of corps members his top priority. Now let's go on a quick break, and when we return, newspaper review continues.
For deeper analysis on security situation in Nigeria and beyond, watch Third Eye Africa TV.
Welcome back. Now the news in detail. Operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency have arrested the chairman of NDLEA, retired Brigadier General Buba Marwa, said the agency's Special Operations Unit had been tracking Ogbonnaya following an Interpol red notice against him and intelligence from the National Intelligence Service of South Korea. He stated that the agency had gathered incontrovertible evidence of Ogbonaya's activities, including his recruitment of young Nigerians as drug carriers to smuggle illicit substances into the Republic of Korea. Marwal said Ogbonaya had previously served 1 year's prison term in South Korea in 2007 before being deported to Nigeria in 2008. However, he resumed his illicit operations, orchestrating drug shipments to the Far East. Marwal, however, reaffirmed the NDLEA's commitment to ensuring that Nigeria does not serve as a base for international drug trafficking operations. Now, the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has blacklisted Avio Pharmaceuticals, an Indian company, over its involvement in the production and exportation of illegal opioids to West Africa, including Nigeria. According to NAFDAC, Avio Pharmaceuticals, managed by Vinod Sharma, has been producing and exporting a combination of tapentadol and carisoprodol, a banned muscle relaxant with addictive properties, to countries in West Africa. The agency revealed that the illegal opioid brands, including Trafadol and Royal 225, have been found on sale in Nigeria, Ghana, and Cote d'Ivoire, and are causing opioid dependence and other health problems. NAFDAC Director General Professor Mojisola Adeyeye stated that the agency has never registered Trafadol or Royal 225 or any products manufactured by Ivio Pharmaceuticals Limited. Adeyeye warned the public to avoid using unregistered products and consuming medicines without prescription from trained medical practitioners. NAFDA said it is working with other regulatory authorities and security agencies to curb the entry of illegal opioids into Nigeria and prevent their distribution and circulation. Now, President Bola Tinubu has appointed Brigadier General Kunle Nafiu as the new Director General of the National Youth Service Corps (NYSC). Brigadier General Nafiu, until his appointment, was the Chief of Staff to the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede. A member of 47 regular corps, Nafiu is an artillery officer who graduated from the Armed Forces Command and Staff College and the U.S. Army War College. Nafiu, whose appointment is immediately effective, replaces Brigadier General Yeshua Ahmed. Meanwhile, Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria has charged the newly appointed NYSC Director General to make the security and welfare of corps members his top priority. Haruwa's National Coordinator Emmanuel, in a statement, stated that the new Director General must take immediate action to address the rising cases of kidnapping and attacks on corps members. He tasked Nafiu to take proactive steps to ensure that corps members are safe both during their deployment and at their places of primary assignments. And on insecurity, the National Association of Nigerian Students has expressed concern over the incessant kidnapping of students of tertiary institutions in the country, calling on the federal government to make campuses safe for students. Now, this follows the abduction of 3 female students from Joseph Sawayan Takan University in Makurdi, Benue State on February 25th, while they were returning from night study. The students, all first-year engineering majors, were reportedly taken by armed assailants who emerged by nearby bush. In a statement, NAS National Vice President Inter-Campus Affairs Felicia highlighted the alarming rise in security threats faced by students in educational institutions. She criticized the slow pace of rescue efforts by security agents and urged the management of the university to go beyond suspending academic activities by strengthening security on campus, particularly at night. Now, NANS warned that it is watching the development and will not hesitate to declare a protest across the zones in the country if the adopted students are not rescued on time. Now, the Nigerian Air Force has launched an investigation into an incident involving its personnel and some civilians at Barakaluhu in Kaduna State, which resulted in injuries and a fatality. NAV's Director of Public Relations and Information, Air Vice Marshal Olushola Akimboyewa, confirmed these in a statement, saying those injured were receiving treatment at the 461 NAV hospital. The statement said the Air Force deeply regretted the loss of a life and had reached out to the family of the deceased to express its condolences and assure them of a thorough investigation and justice. Now, Air Vice Marshal Kim Boyewa described the Air Force as a professional force committed to upholding the highest standards of conduct, adding that anyone found culpable would be held accountable. Now let's go on a quick break and when we return, newspaper and press review continues. So stay tuned.
For deeper analysis on security situation in Nigeria and beyond, watch Third Eye Africa TV.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is newspaper and press review. Well, today we have our in-house guest with us in the studio, Mr. Udo Itefia. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Well, let's take a look at what we have in our papers today. We'll start with Leadership newspaper. We see here that more Nigerians facing health concerns over self-medication. You will find that in page 4 of the Leadership newspaper. And then on the international scene, Ukraine war, Zelensky does not want peace. Trump, you find that in page 6 of the Leadership newspaper. Now, and then federal government approves 11 new private varsities. You find that also in page 6. And then Nigeria records 38 cases of Lassa fever, 9 deaths in 7 days. You find that in page 4 of the Leadership newspaper. And then Hamas rejects U.S. proposal for ceasefire extension. That's in page 4 of the Leadership newspaper. And then over to the Daily Trust newspaper. Rivers Assembly gives Fubara 48 hours to present budget. That's in page 15 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Price war rages as NNPC matches Dangote's 860 naira per liter. You find that in page 20. Now, FEC approves a 507 billion naira for Abuja, Kaduna, Zaria Road. And then Army Varsity professor kidnapped, CSP rescued hours after adoption. That's in page 4 of the Daily Trust newspaper. And then Obasa returns as Lagos Speaker 49 days after. That's in page 14 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Federal government gives nod to 11 new private universities that's in page 5 of the Daily Trust newspaper. And then here in the Nation newspaper, we have confrontation breaks out between Fubara and lawmakers. And then also in the Blueprint newspaper, we have tension heightens in Rivers. Calm returns to Lagos Assembly. And then you find that in page 8 of the Blueprint newspaper, and then Boko Haram adopts BRU Army Varsity Professor orders. And then kills 11 in midnight attack on Niger gold mining sites. Well, Mr. Udo, we have confrontation breaks out between Fubara and lawmakers. We read that yesterday. We read about what the tension happening in River State about the governor and the lawmakers. Now, I want to still throw more light on what is really happening in River State, particularly with the present administration and the lawmakers.
Yes, it's a continuing story because this follows the judgment of the Supreme Court last week Friday, in which the courts ordered the government of Governor Fubara to resubmit the 2025 budgets to the 27 members of the House of Assembly, which the governor does not recognize because they decamped from the party that brought them to the Assembly, the party under which they contested the election into the House of Assembly. So at a point, because of the conflict between the governor and these 27 members of the House who are loyal to former Governor Nyesom Wike, who is now the Minister of FCT. So because of that decision to leave the party, the People's Democratic Party that brought them to the Assembly, to the All Progressive Congress. So the governor and his advisors feel that they breached a section of the Constitution that says once you leave the party that brought you to the House as a member, as a lawmaker, you lose your seat and you need to go back to the constituency and recontest. If you win, you come back to the House. But you find out that they feel that they still belong because they decamped along with the Speaker, who's supposed to have given effect to the section of the Constitution that wants them to leave the House. So they feel that the effect was not given and they are still members of the House. But the 5 that did not decamp, are loyal to the governor. And the governor had been relating with them to the extent of presenting the budget, the appropriation bill to these 5 members for their approval. And that is what has been happening. So the matter had been from the High Court to the Appeal Court, and eventually the Supreme Court now, which is the final court of the land, ruled that the budget should be represented to the 27 members of the House because 5 members cannot make up the House of Assembly. And you find out that from the lower court up to the Supreme Court, it has been conflicting judgment depending on which side you look at. So either the court of the state high court will give judgment saying that these people are no longer members of the House. The federal high court will say no, they are still members of the House. So that conflicting judgment eventually have been, consummated with the judgment of the Supreme Court that now says they are still members and that the governor should go and represent the budget to them. And after that, these 25, 27 members now decided, as at yesterday, to give the governor 24 hours, within which, 24 or 48, within which he should comply with the judgment of the court of the Supreme Court and represent the budget to them, But Fubara is saying that the people should remain calm, and he had not come out to say, because he still believes that they are not members of the House of Assembly. Because even that case, That case has been with the Court of Appeal. It has not yet, that particular aspect has not yet gone to the Supreme Court. But which the Supreme Court joined with that of these House members to rule last Friday that the governor should represent the 2025 budget to the 27-member House that is loyal to. So this is where the confrontation is emanating from. And so one is still looking forward to seeing what will happen, whether the governor will obey and yield to the judgment and represent the budget to the 27-member House. So that is where they are now.
Okay, still on lawmakers, we have here Obasa returns as Lagos Speaker 49 days after. This is in Lagos State. What is really happening with our lawmakers? And,
yes, it calls to question the type of democracy we are practicing in Nigeria. Because if you've been following the situation in Lagos State, the lawmakers decided 2 months ago to impeach, almost unanimously impeach the speaker, that is Mr. Obasa, had been the speaker for almost 10 years. You know, they leveled some allegation against him, and based on that allegation, although they did not give him opportunity to defend himself, he was out of the country when he was impeached. So they said, like, we are tired of his leadership. And don't forget that you are elected into the House of Assembly as a member, first and foremost. You are a member of the House before you are elected by your colleagues as a speaker. So one that emerged from among equals to be a leader. And so after he traveled out, they decided to impeach him. And he came back and started to fight back because there are powers behind him. You know, there are some forces behind him that are supporting him beyond these members of the House. Because you find out that about 24 or so members united in saying that we don't want him again. But about 4 of them said we still want him. So the majority didn't want him. Under normal democracy, he ought to have gone because the majority says we do not want you. But you find out that there are some forces that are beyond this majority, outside the House of Assembly. And when he started to fight back, it was last week we got to know that at a point, the security details of the woman that now took over from him as Speaker, Miranda, the security details were withdrawn. That started to give a signal. That was a kind of threat to the new Speaker that the powers that be do not want you. So imagine a Speaker, one who was still the Speaker of the House. Your security details were withdrawn. You had left vulnerable.
Yeah.
So it was a sign. And eventually, although the security details were returned to her, but supposing anything happened within the period you withdrew, and instead, the man that was impeached, security was fortified for him. So one began to question the police commissioner that gave the order for the withdrawal of this security details, said it was for auditing. It was normal process. If you supposing you are auditing, you can audit without withdrawing them. And if you are auditing, why not send another set?
Yes.
Maybe you are recalling this one for us, 1 or 2 things. Why not send, but you left her like that? It was a sign. That was the first sign that the kind of threat to the woman that, look, your days are numbered. And eventually, the powers that be, they call her and they put pressure on her. You have to resign for this man to come back. I know they are playing politics. That's why we say that under normal circumstances, under normal democratic process, Mr. Obasa, the former speaker, who is now a speaker, ought to have gone, because the majority of members of the House that have authority and power to elect him said, we do not want you again. But you see, in Nigeria, democracy is not what is being practiced in other democratic countries. Otherwise, one man cannot sit down somewhere, or even men cannot sit down outside the House of Assembly and decide who should be and who should not be. And that has been happening in Nigeria. You know, maybe the president, maybe the governor, maybe the advisors here and there say this is the person that we want. And the members have no option. They have to follow that line. And that is what has been happening. Now Obasa is back to a house that people say we do not want you. The majority of the members say we do not want you. How is he going to relate with these members for the good of the people? How is he going to relate? Already we got to know that he is not in good relationship with the government. That is the governor and the executive arm of government. So if the legislature and the executive are not working together, how would they be able to make laws? If tomorrow the governor sent a bill to the House of Assembly and maybe Obasa look at it and say, this man, this bill, because of what he did to me, I have to frustrate him. It means we are frustrating the whole people. If he feels that it was the governor that propelled or instigated those members to impeach him, he may want to get back at the governor one way or the other. So these are the things, these are the intrigues that they should try to avoid at this particular time as they move on in the Lagos State House of Assembly.
Okay. And then moving over, we have on the price war rages as NNPC matches Dangote's 860 naira per liter. This is in the oil sector.
Well, one wonders if anyway price war, because any drop in the price of petroleum products makes news in Nigeria since the withdrawal or removal of subsidy on petroleum products. And currently the price is in some filling stations about 900 and something, some 800. But you find out that this deduction, whatever Dangote has reduced in price or NNPCL has reduced in price, does not have any salutary effect on the economy, on the lives of the people. Transportation, the cost of transportation is still as high as it was. The cost of foodstuff in the market still as it was. So until things begin to come down, until the price of these petroleum products, petrol, diesel, kerosene, begin to come down, it will make no meaning. The news that the price war does not make any meaning to Nigerians. It may just be between Dangote and the NNPCL. Then you find maybe petroleum marketers, because since they buy, in millions of liters, 2 kobo, 5 kobo, 1 naira may make meaning to them by the time they put together in millions. But for the Nigerian that have only 10 naira to spread over transportation, spread over food items, spread over rent, spread over electricity bills, spread over all that you need to data for your communication. Is this 10 naira you want to spread? You find out that it takes you nowhere. So that is why I say until things begin to happen that will bring the prices down maybe to 300 naira, that is the only time that you see that Nigerians begin to feel the impact of any reduction in price of petroleum products.
Okay, now moving over to insecurity, we have Army Varsity professor kidnapped, CSP rescued hours after abduction. What is happening in our country that the Army Varsity professor was kidnapped. What is happening in our schools?
Yes, it's really, we talked about this yesterday. You know, students are being kidnapped. You know, the vice chancellor is being kidnapped. Police, chief superintendent of police being kidnapped.
So who is safe in the country?
Who is saved? Because at the level of CSP, chief superintendent of police, you're supposed to have a serving pistol, you know, for your protection, given to you by the authority you are serving. But you find out that this, you know, does not make meaning, does not give you protection, because the people that come against you, they are coming with superior power. So that is why insecurity must be fought to a standstill. You know, you find out that sometimes they say that they are making peace, they are using, you know, this kinetic and non-kinetic carrot and stick. They speak all sort of grammar that do not add to ameliorating the security situation in the country. So look at it, the whole army, these supposed to be people who are protected. I'm sure this man, being a vice chancellor in Army University, must have some, you know, military protection. But it didn't stop kidnappers from kidnapping him. The other time, it was the former Director General of National Youth Service Corps. Up till today, it's about a month or maybe 3 weeks since he was kidnapped somewhere in Katsina State. Up till now, that man had not been rescued.
And the matter has died down.
Oh, really, you know, they will tell you they are working. They will tell you they are working. And this is a brigadier general. Brigadier in Nigerian Army, a brigadier general. In the days gone by, it was, you know, you can't say that a general in the Nigerian Army is kidnapped just like that. So, question is continue to come: what is happening? What can be done? So, I wouldn't say they are not doing something, but it appears that the more they are taking the battle to the theater of kidnappings and terrorists, the more they find their way out to come outside where the battlefront is to kidnap people, maybe to using another route to where you may not know, to hide them. That is why they have to do something about it. And this idea of, you know, people, repentant militant, repentant this and that, should not be encouraged. You know, people would go and commit atrocities and kill people and make life miserable to people.
Others, yes.
Tomorrow they come out to say that they've repented. And you are not even sure, because you are not in their mind to know that whether truly they've repented or not.
Now these people are having good life. You're giving them good life, where others are there mourning the loss of their loved ones.
Exactly. So something meaningful, something more active should be done to nip this insecurity in the bud.
Well, moving over, we have more Nigerians facing health concerns over self-medication. We know that some Nigerians, instead of going to the hospital when they are feeling sick, they rather buy medication and start their treatment. And this is wrong. I feel if you are feeling sick, you should go to the hospital for checkup. But I really need you to throw more light on that.
There's a case with some or most Nigerians. Let's say most Nigerians now is just standing between the devil and the deep blue sea, as they would say. You are there, and because of the economy of Nigerians, that the little you have cannot even help you to feed yourself and your family, to take care of yourself and your family. And how would you be able to go to the hospital, pay consultation fee? The drugs are expensive. Most pharmaceutical companies are relocated from Nigeria, and that makes the cost of, you know, medical product to be very expensive, and that makes Nigerians to fall victims of self-medication and quackery in the society.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Udo, for joining us today. We are always glad whenever you are here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, well, because of time, this is where we will be drawing the curtain. Join us tomorrow, same time, same station, for newspaper and press review. Many thanks for watching. I am Joy Malik. Bye for now.